Salut tout le monde, comment ça va? I hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. And a few weeks ago, I did a video on Bradley Cooper, the Hollywood actor, speaking French, and we reviewed it together. I reacted to it from my perspective as a foreigner living in France, having learned the language as an adult, because I thought it was an interesting perspective to give on the level of French of another native English speaker, because us as learners tend to see people who speak French and we often compare ourselves to them, none more so than celebrities, and we don't often know how good they're actually speaking. We just hear them, we see them, it's impressive. So I wanted to react to it and break down what I could. And you guys gave me a couple of suggestions for other celebrities to review. So that's exactly what we're doing today. I've got Jodie Foster, the American actress and director, who actually went to a French school from a young age. So she actually speaks really good English, but nonetheless, I wanted to be able to point out a couple of things that I find interesting that would be useful for you guys to keep learning and improving your French. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Allez, c'est parti. If you weren't already aware, you can now support the channel further by becoming an official member in exchange for rewards such as early release of all my videos and monthly live streams where you can ask me anything and we talk about parts of learning French, living in France, that you won't get here publicly on YouTube. So go ahead and click on the join button down below to find out more. Okay, so Jodie Foster speaking French. Let's have a look at the first clip and see what we can pick out.
Qu'est-ce que ça dit au fond?
Sur notre pays.
Sur le pays qu'est l'Amérique, pas beaucoup la France.
C'est vrai que nous sommes à un moment où le monde du finance, les spectacles, le divertissement,
She has such a lovely flow here, the intonation, the way she makes the liaisons beautifully between nous and sommes. Nous sommes à un moment. That's really, really lovely. And she has those lovely little between her words while she's hesitating. It's not so abrasive as something that I think that I do a lot, which is but they're very short and sweet. She moves on very quickly to the next thing that she wants to say.
Le monde du finance, les spectacles, le divertissement, de la télé et la technologie, tous les trois sont dans une sorte de tapisserie.
When she listed off three things there, le monde de finance, le spectacle, le divertissement, she then said tous les trois sont dans une sorte de tapisserie. And her French is so good that I really had to pick out just small things to sort of nitpick. But she says tous les trois, and I thought that the R, the R, the French R in the word trois was a bit light, and I had to replay a few times because I thought originally that she'd mistakenly pronounced it as toi for you, but actually she does say trois, it's just quite light. So that would come from probably just lack of practice, lack of exercising that muscle.
Le monde du finance est guidé par une technologie qu'on a inventée, mais pourtant qu'on ne peut pas maîtriser parce que ça nous dépasse.
Le monde de finance est guidé par une technologie qu'on a inventée, mais pourtant on ne peut pas maîtriser parce que ça nous dépasse. I like this for two reasons. The first one is that she says mais pourtant, and if you were to translate this into English you get but yet we can't master it because, that's what she says, mais pourtant. In English I feel like we would say and yet, and even then it's sort of something you don't hear in everyday life, which makes sense because she's doing an interview, she's speaking at a higher level, but it also illustrates that regular modern French uses a sort of form of the language which when translated into English you get more formal equivalents, and I've always found that really interesting. So she says mais pourtant, so you can say pourtant without mais. I see it a lot written down. Pourtant, you use it to contrast, you know, like but. So it's like she's put two contrasting words next to each other there. Mais pourtant. And then the second thing here is afterwards she says ça nous dépasse. Ça nous dépasse. Now I don't know if she uses it in exactly the way that comes to mind for me immediately, but that way is something goes over your head. Something is, you know, too advanced for us to understand. I think that is what she's saying. She's saying we invented this technology, but now it's just taking off and growing a life of its own. AI, machine learning, and things like that. She says ça nous dépasse. Now, did you guys know that you can't literally word for word translate the English expression "it goes over my head" or "it goes over our head"? And in fact, we show this expression without saying it by just doing this hand movement. And I've been caught out in the past because actually they don't know what this means. If anything, it looks like you're doing something rude. You're sort of swearing. You're sort of fobbing someone off. So try and lose that. But it's kind of automatic for me to do sometimes. So you can't say it goes over my head. Literally, you have to say ça me dépasse. It goes over my head. It's beyond me, right? It's too difficult for me to comprehend.
Tu braques la caméra sur moi et on y va au feeling.
Now, I know this isn't Jodie Foster, but the guy who dubbed over George Clooney said on y va au feeling. On y va au feeling. The French use the word feeling quite commonly, and it's used to say, you know, we go with the flow, we improvise. On y va au feeling.
Quand je vous regarde à travers la télé ou quand je vous entends à travers mon appareil, comme ils le font dans le film.
Quand je vous entends à travers mon appareil. So when I hear you through my device, my earpiece, she went with appareil, which means device, more general term. You see, perhaps she didn't know or need to know the specific word for earpiece. So she went with mon appareil, which is my device, and it's absolutely fine. So you guys really need to learn to use more simple terms to get your point across. And this is a great way that I almost didn't even notice. I paused it on this clip to talk about how she said à travers. Now, à travers is a preposition which means through, passes through. So you think of anything passes through. So she's talking about a voice passing through the earpiece into an ear. She says à travers, right? Obvious. But this is one of those prepositions which you use much more rarely than something like dans, right, which is in. Us English speakers in particular, we love to learn dans and then we overuse it. But this is something where I would very much not necessarily think of à travers in the moment. I would have to just go with dans because I want the conversation to flow. So the point I'm trying to make here is learn what is most common and what will be understood. Because if you said in my earpiece rather than through my earpiece, it would be fine. Perhaps in French, that in this case, you'd have to say à travers, but I seriously doubt that if she had said dans mon appareil, he would have said, hein? Qu'est-ce que vous voulez dire? No, he would have absolutely understood.
On a l'impression que ces deux personnes sont plus proches l'un de l'autre que s'ils étaient dans la même pièce.
On a l'impression que ces deux personnes sont plus proches, and then she corrected herself, plus proche, because she got that pronunciation slightly wrong, and I like that. She clearly is really comfortable with speaking French and just composed herself immediately and corrected it because her annoying mouth muscles had formed the wrong sound. I really like that. And obviously she makes very few mistakes, but that one was very clear. But we all do that in English. We just mess up. I do it 100 times during a video. I have to pause and redo. Another thing, interesting piece of French here is she says, ces deux personnes sont plus proches l'un à l'autre.
Plus proches l'un de l'autre.
Now, I think it should be l'une à l'autre because she said personne, ces deux personnes, and personne is feminine, so it should be l'une à l'autre. So she got the gender wrong here and said l'un à l'autre instead of l'une à l'autre. No big deal. She's been learning her whole life. She still gets that wrong. Absolutely fine. But this is how you actually emphasize the fact that you're not just saying these two people are closer, which is just ces deux personnes sont plus proches. If you want to then say each other, you have to say l'une à l'autre, one to the other, and you add that to the end. And this works in a lot of ways where you want to say each other in French.
Jodie Foster.
Oui, c'est difficile de monter un film, qui que ce soit, même si vous êtes un homme, une femme, un chien. Très difficile de monter des films, mais surtout pour les femmes maintenant, bien sûr. On a très peu de femmes dans le cinéma, mais surtout très peu de femmes dans le grand cinéma de grand public.
I like how she says here, il y a très peu de femmes dans le cinéma. I don't like that she said there are very few women in cinema. What I like is that she said il y a très peu here. Now, us as foreigners, we might go for il n'y a pas beaucoup de, which is absolutely fine. There are not a lot of women. It's the same meaning. But I find it a bit more elegant, a bit more French and more detached from English to say there are very few. Obviously, we can say that in English, and sometimes I do catch myself saying it, but honestly, it's influenced by French because that's made my English a lot better. Where I come from and the English I speak, it's kind of become simplified. It's not as elegant. So I would much more often say there are not a lot rather than there are few. You see what I mean? So we're turning a negative construction into a positive one, but still saying the same thing. And they say that with peu. So we all know a lot of the time, je parle un peu de français, un peu. But if you just use peu without un, it means few. So il y a peu de femmes. There are few women, which is obviously saying there are not enough. Anyway, you understand me. Ensuite, let's have a look at a clip from another, this time much older, interview.
D'une façon un petit peu différente parce que quand même ils se retrouvent solitaires dans leur vie. C'était surtout ce thème-là qui m'intéressait.
Here she says, c'était cet thème-là qui m'intéressait. It was that subject, that theme that interested me. But she makes a small mistake with the gender of the word thème. It should be masculine, so it should be ce thème. She said cet thème.
Et la conclusion du petit homme, alors, ce petit garçon, il devenait quoi?
Il arrive à se balancer, il arrive à balancer les deux côtés de sa vie, c'est-à-dire le côté intellectuel et le côté émotionnel.
Here she's asked, so what happens to the little boy? What happens to him? And she said, il arrive à se balancer, à balancer les deux côtés de sa vie. And I thought, this is odd, because I know that balancer is a false friend, c'est un faux ami between English and French. It sounds like balance, right? But the French use équilibré for a verb and équilibre for the noun. And I thought, but maybe it's an Anglicism. Maybe it's an English word that's made its way into French and it's fine. So I do what most of us do. I looked it up on Word Reference. I asked a French-speaking friend and they said, no, it's wrong. It's not listed in Word Reference as an Anglicism. So here she made the mistake of, which I was quite surprised about if she's been learning since childhood, that she would make such an error. So she said se balancer, il arrive à se balancer. Actually, apparently the better way to say this would be il a trouvé or il est arrivé à trouver un certain équilibre dans sa vie, for example. So it's a bit longer because I don't think they have s'équilibrer, but trouver un certain équilibre would be the better way to say this rather than balancer.
Il arrive à balancer les deux côtés de sa vie, c'est-à-dire le côté intellectuel et le côté émotionnel.
And then she says, c'est-à-dire le côté intellectuel et le côté émotionnel. I like this term, c'est-à-dire. So it translates literally to that is to say. So it's a way to specify what you actually mean. So she said, balance the two sides of his life. Well, you might be thinking, okay, what two sides of his life? So she says, c'est-à-dire le côté émotionnel et le côté intellectuel. The other person could have also said, c'est-à-dire, as in, as a question to get her to go further, but she thought, no, I need to do this myself. So she says, c'est-à-dire, and then she names the two sides that she's talking about.
Il arrive à se dire finalement, bon, d'accord, je suis différent.
And she says, il arrive à se dire, bon, d'accord, je suis différent. I like this because there's a few things. So she says, il arrive à. So she also said that in the previous point, but I didn't pick up on it. Il arrive à means he manages to. So arriver à, now arriver you might know as to arrive, but with à, arriver à, it means to manage to, and then you follow it up with another verb. So il arrive à se dire, he manages to say to himself, he manages to realize, he manages to tell himself, bon, d'accord, je suis différent. So the other part of this says bon, and that's basically like in English say, okay, right, d'accord, okay, I'm different. So bon, they do that a lot. It's sort of like a filler word and it sort of changes from one topic to the next. It's sort of an abrupt stop. You say bon. Maybe at the end of a conversation, you announce that you're going to leave. You say, bon, je dois y aller. Bon, je dois y aller. Something like that. So it means good, literally, but you can check out my filler words video up here where I talk about how bon can be a filler word as well.
Oui, pour un film de science-fiction, ou je dirais plutôt de science factuelle, c'est un film surtout qui traite l'humanité, la relation de l'humanité avec l'univers.
She says here, c'est un film qui traite l'humanité. I like this. I don't use this enough because it's not often that I talk about films, but the word traiter, the verb traiter, to treat something is to discuss it, to start the conversation, to be about that. So le film traite l'humanité. Le film est à propos de l'humanité, for example. I'm not saying it's a direct synonym, but I like how they use traiter here. Bon, voila, I think that's enough for this video. We picked out some key things that I think are useful for you guys to know as French learners, not just words and vocabulary, but also things that you shouldn't necessarily worry about that perhaps you do put too much weight on as a French learner. Jodie Foster's been learning most of her life and she still makes some mistakes, but overall her French is fantastic. And honestly, I hesitated about doing this video because I didn't know how much value I could bring to it, but that is up to you guys. Let me know by hitting the like button down below if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment as well with any other names you want me to traite. Do you want me to traiter d'autres célébrités? Don't know if I can say that, but I think I can. If you are new here, guys, do consider clicking that big red subscribe button down below so you don't miss another weekly video. If you want to become a more confident French speaker, and I'm guessing you do because that's why you've watched my videos all the way through, then you might consider getting my free guide on how to become a confident French speaker with techniques that I myself, as a foreigner in France, have used myself to get to fluency. A link to that is down in the description. But until next time, everyone, hope you enjoyed this review of another celebrity speaking French. You can check out Bradley Cooper speaking French over here. And until next time, everyone, merci beaucoup d'avoir regardé. À la prochaine. Ciao.